Video number 2. In the first video, I told you about 5 best podcasts from India if you want to be fluent and confident speaker. In this video, as I said before that, I will tell you about how to overcome the problem of not be able to understand the podcast. Many of us aren't able to understand a podcast, and there are many reasons behind this, and I have a solution, but not a shortcut. I'm going to give you the right solution, and it's going to take time, but you will be able to understand good speakers, good podcasters. In the previous video, I told you about Indian podcasters. I mean, understanding an Indian podcaster like me is not difficult because we don't have a different accent which is not familiar to you. We don't speak very fast, and especially I don't use difficult, not better. I don't use difficult words. I use simple words which are not jargons and which will be able to understand. You will be able to understand those words. But this doesn't happen when you go for international podcasters from US and UK that accent we don't understand. So in this video, I'm going to tell you how to overcome that, how to understand a podcast easily without straining. Now, before that, we have to understand that why don't we understand a podcast? We don't understand a podcast because of many reasons, and one reason is childhood surroundings. See, understand in India especially, we have been brought up in a surrounding where all regional language was spoken. So during childhood, there are formative years. Childhood is a formative year. In the formative years, language develops very quickly. I mean, have you seen kids develop language very quickly? But in those formative years, if you are not into an English surrounding, I'm not talking about convent schools. I'm talking about the accent, different accents. If you are not having that accent with you, you just can't grasp it. I mean, your Broca's area and Wernicke's area, these are the two language centers of your brain, they will not be able to grasp what you are listening. I mean, they will not be able to decode, in fact, because of the childhood surroundings. Now also there is no difference. Lack of surrounding is that, I mean, I've seen in offices and corporates especially that most of the time they speak in Hindi or any other regional language. Most common is Hindi. English is only used in meetings at the beginning of the meeting. Hello friends, so good morning, we're going to start a meeting, or in the presentation. After that, slowly that Hindi or regional language seeps in and then we stop. Because of this, the problem is that we are not surrounded by fluent speakers also, and people with foreign accent, we are not surrounded with that. So we have to surround it. I will tell you the solution for that. Speed of the speaker is very fast. Actually, it's not fast. Native speakers don't speak in words. They speak in sentences. They don't say that, hello, how are you? They say, hello, how are you? Hello, how are you? Hello, how are you? Getting my point? These words are all connected and welded together, just fused together. So that's the reason why we aren't able to comprehend what they're saying, because they speak fast, we say. Around 200 to 300 words per minute they deliver. And it becomes quite a task for us to grasp it. I mean, what's happening, we don't understand. We try to decode it, but till then, they have gone forward and we get stuck there itself. What is the meaning and the language, and they have progressed forward. So this is another issue. Next is accent of the speaker. As I said before, we are not familiar with the accents. Like usually there are 4 accents: US, UK, New Zealand and Australian accent, and dialects are different again. But we don't understand that because the accent is different. I mean, you may have seen in English movies or in some web series or English serials, we don't understand what exactly is going on there. The reason is the accent, and the last is vocabulary used. Sometimes, not most of the times, but sometimes vocabulary used is quite alien, new for you. New vocabulary will be difficult for you. It will act like a speed breaker and you get stuck there. Until then, as I said before, the speaker goes forward, he moves ahead, and you get stuck there and you lost the track. So vocabulary also. So we are going to understand the genre also. If the genre is not familiar, see, I'll give you one example. Suppose you're listening to a podcast on finances, and if you are not familiar with finances, you don't know any background of finance or economics and all, you will get bored and you will not be able to understand what is going on there. So these are the various reasons why we don't understand a podcast. Now, the next important part is, come on, the solution. Now, these are the same points which I just wrote down in the previous slide, but now the solution. These two, childhood and lack of surrounding, solution is there. Let me come here. The solution is you're listening. And these 3, 1, 2, 3, speed, accent and vocabulary has a solution, and genre has a solution. But first, these 2 problems we have: surrounding in childhood and surrounding now, we don't have. Solution is listen more. The more you listen, the more surrounding you create. More you listen, the more surrounding you create. Next is 2 senses method. 2 senses, I'll just talk about that afterwards. And last is genre. See, to be familiar with the topics, see, as I said before, you want to be a good communicator, you should know something about all other topics. If the topic is completely alien to you, you won't be able to use the words, and also you won't be able to understand the podcast. So you must read. For example, suppose you are listening a podcast on leadership. So you must have some background about leadership. You must read something about leadership. And then when you're listening a podcast, it becomes easier for you to understand and grasp it. Getting it? So let us move forward now. And as I said before, these two things, listen more. For the last one, read a lot from different genres, from newspapers. I made a video about that, how to select a newspaper. You can watch those videos, links I'll give you here. Now, two senses method. I'll just go ahead and tell you about two senses method. It's very simple method, engage two senses at the same time. I made some videos, link is given in the description, or you can just see here on the I button and click over that and watch those videos. Two senses, we have two senses, five senses overall. Listen and, no, listen and see. These are the two senses. Of course, taste is another sense. Here we have to engage two senses, which listen and read at the same time. Means you need audio and a transcript at the same time, but there is a step-by-step process for that, which I have told in these videos description. Go and see those videos. Don't miss those. Don't miss those. Remember and watch those videos. Now, see here, understand how to check your listening ability now. Now, many of you said that, okay, I don't understand or I understand, but most of the time we are not sure about it. So you have to test that. And for test, give IELTS listening test. IELTS listening, any test. And out of around 40, if you can cross 35 easily, your listening is okay, average, above average. Or you can go with TOEFL also. In TOEFL, out of 30, if you cross 25 score, you are good in TOEFL listening. I mean, overall listening, you can decide. Movies and jokes and emotions. When you watch an American movie or a Hollywood movie, and if you aren't able to understand the joke, and if there is a joke, but you are just, what? If there is emotion, someone is crying, that something has happened, and if you aren't able to understand, your listening is poor. And if you need to strain, suppose you're talking to a client and you say, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me.
What?
If you're saying this 2-3 times, then again there is a problem. So these are the things which tell that you are not a good listener, so you have to really work on this. And the last thing is, I always say that don't expect any magic here. I don't have any magic. By using this method, as I said before, let us come back here. By using this method, this two senses method, magic is not going to happen. Your listening will improve very slowly. Be ready for that. I know that. I mean, it's like, first of all, you have to build your vocabulary. Your vocabulary has to be built because your vocabulary is poor. In two senses method, you have to build a vocabulary, you have to understand the pronunciation, then you have to use two senses, and then your listening ability will improve slowly. See the graph is slowly. It's not like it's going to skyrocket like a rocket. It's not going to happen. It's going to improve slowly. Let us be realistic. Let us not cheat ourselves, because it's always said that, I also always say that, don't fool yourself. And you are the most easiest to fool. Don't fool yourself. You can fool yourself very easily. So be careful about this. Use the two senses method. Videos have given you in the description. Have some patience. Slowly your score in IELTS listening also will improve. And to keep on checking whether your score is, or whether your listening is improving or not, keep on giving IELTS listening tests regularly. You will understand whether your listening ability is getting better or not. Without listening, without understanding what's happening, what they're speaking, you won't be able to speak fluently, because listening is the first step towards fluency. Take care, friends. It was nice talking to you. Bye. See you.